Well, hello, everybody. Hello, Bettina. How are you doing today?
Hi, Eric. Hi, everyone. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing really good. I've got tonight off of work. I normally work on Fridays, and so I have a full weekend full of fun plans. We have there's a Christmas party. It's December 1st, so
That's right.
Christmas party season begins, and I have one to attend tonight, and then going up to Toronto tomorrow. I'm going to go to a couple galleries and maybe the ROM, and then we're going out for dinner with my brother and his girlfriend, and then we're going to go see a Second City show. Have you been to one of those before?
No, I haven't. Although I
Yeah,
sang at the ROM last year.
that's right. That's right.
Last
Uh,
week. Last year, last week.
it's all the same,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, I sang there last year too, but you know,
Yeah, somewhere in the past.
just last week.
Yeah, yeah. I've been to Second City a few times. It's a really great show. I love improv and sketch comedy. I think it's some of the best. When you see like live,
Well,
see it done live, it's really great. Yeah, it's a good venue
cool.
too. And they always do like an improv section at the end, and sometimes, the laughs aren't as consistent, but that's sometimes where the best stuff comes out. Is something created in that moment.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
I
like anything.
That's right. Really, that's really absolutely true. Um, so you've started all your baking now for Christmas.
I've started my chocolates and I'm two-thirds done, I guess. And tomorrow is our big baking day. So my sister and her daughters come down, and my mom and Allison and me, and we just bake all the cookies. And then they go home with theirs, and we keep ours, and we're ready. Then we're ready. So it's a lot of fun. It's one of the things that we can do as a family with the extended family, and
Mhm.
it's a nice tradition. So yeah, so that's tomorrow. So I'm sort of prepping for that. Um, I'm making gingerbread cookies because my niece is bringing her kids, and so I'll set them up on the dining room table, and they can decorate. Make
Aw.
little trees and decorate stuff. That'll keep them busy for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Then they start eating them and get hyper.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
it's
And
nice.
I and I
Sometimes
I beat you because I've already been to a Christmas party last week.
that's right. The festivities start. I know. Being working at the restaurant, we're already having many parties come in for their Christmas party. Try to get them out of the way and not in those 2 weeks where everybody seems so everybody's off, but at the same time so busy with
Yeah,
errands and so on. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like,
so nice though the baking parties. I remember my mom used to do that, and she used to have her sister over, and us kids would help, and it was a nice thing to do, and um, it was almost nicer than the actual Christmas because it's you're coming together and it's not so formal. You're creating together as a family. You're doing something that's good for everybody. It's really nice. It's a really nice thing, and I miss it.
yeah, yeah. I used to do that with my when I make my Christmas cake, which I do back like end of October, beginning of November, because it's got to soak.
Hmm.
We talked about this, right? But I started doing it. My aunt was the one who originally made it, and so when I decided I was going to start making it, um, I invited her and my other aunt out, and so that became another whole baking thing too. But now she's not able to, so I do miss having her around to do it. It's
Hmm.
kind of sad, but I always give her one. Her birthday is at the end of October, so I always give her a small uh, cake for her birthday, and she always knows what it is. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm sure she looks forward to it too. That's
Yeah.
my sister does something similar for our birthdays in the family. She has often made a cake. She's a terrific baker, and she makes a cake, and you kind of give her a couple flavors, and she goes off and creates something, and then
Oh,
brings it.
nice.
It's almost more exciting than anything else that you get that around that time of year where it's your birthday or it's a special event.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I
It's
like that idea.
yeah, it's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah.
you talking a little bit before the show about how the topic we kind of want to get into today was about like letting go of our stories, and it's kind of funny how we both had an experience this week where we kind of looked into that and kind of explored that with ourselves.
Yeah, it just kind of, well, as most people who watch this show know, I've been going through a lot of change and transformation over the last few years. And it has taken me a long time, but I'm trying not to judge myself on that because some things change in a minute and some things change in a lifetime. And so it's not about how quickly the change happens, but the fact that the change is happening at all, for the better, hopefully.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about how, even in the past week, I'm more and more sure that my coaching business, my life coaching business, is done and over, um, because I have no attachment to it, but I also have no clients. And my feeling, my deep seated feeling is, yeah, you just don't do that anymore. It's just not, you know, it's not a role that you play in your life anymore. Um, and I mean, there may be lots of sort of justifications for it, as in, someone once said to me, well, they always say you teach what you need to learn, and maybe you're
Hmm.
done, which I think you're always learning, and you're always changing and evolving. But no matter what the justifications are or the stories are, um, it's that whole idea of being okay to let it go, being okay to let that story go, that I am a life coach and I help people transform their lives and blah, 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 blah. And I think a lot of it was me basing the idea of success on how many people I helped or how many clients I had or how much money I was making, fulfilling that role. And now I just feel like it doesn't matter how I make money or how much I make, or um, whether I'm helping the world. I'm helping the world. So, okay, so now I've started a sewing business and it's going pretty well so far. It's only been a couple of months. Um, but how is it different doing that than doing the life coaching? It's not the role you play, it's the way you approach that role. And I think I can approach both roles hopefully in the same way, with that view to being as connected as possible to my loving presence and
Hmm.
having passion and love for what I do and putting love into what I do. Um, there's that old saying that love is what makes food taste better. And I think love is what makes everything better. If we bake with love, or cook with love, or serve people with love, or um, you know do creative things, crafts, whatever it is, with love, it has a much different feeling than just doing it for the sake of doing it. And maybe in my coaching business I got to the point where I was doing it for the sake of doing it, or for the sake of wanting to prove how successful I was or how good I was. And that's not really where I want to come from in my life and in my work. And so I really am loving what I'm doing now. And I put love into every stitch that I make. And I feel like I can make a difference in the world by doing that as well. Is that you don't, I think there's a sort of a idea out there, and I may be wrong, but from my perspective, I think there's an idea out there that once we're on this path and we learn all this stuff, then we have to go out and teach the world. But we can teach the world just by being an inspiration, just by showing up, in our loving presence as much as possible, and recognizing when a call for love is happening, um, and answering with that expression of love. So yeah, it's very much letting go of the story, and why are you doing what you're doing, and what is it that you want from it. um, what is that story, how is it serving you? And it always is. It's always serving us in some way, when we create a story about whatever it is in our lives, whether it's putting ourselves in a place of being victim, or putting ourselves in a place where we need to feel successful or loved or whatever, liked.
Yeah. I think there's a lot in there, that you said, and you said it so well, about accepting change, and letting stories go. One of the things, though, I think that was really that I kind of want to take it the direction in is that, when you say it's not what you do necessarily, it's how you approach it, and you saying, it's not exactly, we can go and teach it, or we can go and inspire the world, or we can go and make the world a better place, by how it is that we do what we do, every day, and that can include our work. Something that really helped me, because just like everybody, if I was at work and I didn't want to be there, I would suffer. And that resistance, and I would look at the clock. It started from my school days, and I was just so ingrained in doing this that if I wasn't, in flow, where I was doing a task that was challenging, that I was engaged in, and time was really not even an element in your experience of life. Whenever you got pulled out of that, and you look at the clock, and how many days in school I would just stare at that clock, and you play games in your head about how slow that second clock moves, or second hand moves, and I would get like that at work too. And I feel like that mentality, is when we're just focused on ourselves, and we're not focused on bringing our gifts to our job. Most jobs are really just a contribution to society. We get to enjoy the benefits of being part of a society, whether it's easy to get food in stores, or electricity, or internet, or games, or you know baking, or whatever it is. We get to enjoy the benefits, and then when it's time to go to work, it's our time to go and contribute back. And switching that in my head, was really big for me, as opposed to, I'm just going to work so that I can get money, so I can buy the stuff that's going to make me happy, or at least not even going to make me happy. It's going to alleviate my frustration, going to alleviate my suffering, is really probably more accurate more of the time. But when I was able to switch it in my head, to now, if I had to get up and go to work, or had to be at work, this is my contribution, because I'm enjoying the benefits of being part of the society. And which is not to say society is perfect, but we need to realize how we are interdependent. And switching that in my head also allowed me to be less in my story about how I didn't want to be there, and more about how I could, be of service. And then I received society credits in return, being money. And that helped me reframe it from just being stuck in my own head about how I didn't want to be there. It gave me something bigger, to go after, or something bigger to accomplish. And that really helped me bring my best skills and love and inspiration, really, by being the person that you are, not engaging in complaining, not engaging in negative spirals with coworkers, or people you're meeting, or even this relationship you have with yourself. And it really helped alleviate that. And I think it's wonderful, to be able to switch. You do different jobs, and some people may do the same job their whole life, and other people, most people, I think, will switch around from job to job, and it's how we bring ourselves to that job, and whatever tools we can use to make it easier to get out of our own story, can really help in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the thing is that society has all these little, the word work, and the word
Mm.
job, and the word drudgery, and you know they often go, oh, I have to go to work, and oh, thank God it's Friday, and
Hmm.
all these things that society has built up. I mean, I'm sure in the days of our ancient ancestors, they certainly didn't go up and say, get up in the morning and go, oh, I have to go and find food. It was just a part of your survival.
Yeah.
And yet now it's become all about, work being a 4-letter word, and how tough it is, and how all the drama, and I think it could be so different if we really, as you said, changed how we look at it, and changed our ideas and our beliefs about work, um, and about that Monday to Friday and the money thing. And it's just, I don't know. I think, and maybe that's why more and more people are becoming self-employed and entrepreneurs, and wanting to do their own thing. It's not easy. It's not easy to have your own business. I mean, Peter and I both have our own businesses, and it's pretty tough sometimes, especially when you both are in that situation. But we were talking about it the other day, and we wouldn't want to do it any other way, because we're just at this stage of our lives. It's not what we want to do, that we want to go work 9 to 5. And we're very creative people, and working with our hands and creating is what we're passionate about. And so it's about what is more important, the bank balance, or the fact that you love what you're doing. And yes, while the bank balance is important, you also, we also look at how much of the stuff that we desire do we really need. And it's that whole idea. It's a change in the whole outlook on God, life in general. It's like, more stuff, more this. Then you see the minimalism trend, and how many people just want to like give it all up. And I think there's somewhere in between that most of us can sort of settle with. And when we realize that the stuff isn't the thing that's making us happy, then we start doing the things that make us happy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade my life the way it is for anything, because I love the life I have, and I love, the ability to be creative. And I don't worry about, because I love what I'm doing, I don't need to go on 2 or 3 vacations a year to sort of rest and relax, to come back and get all stressed again. I don't, because I love what I'm doing. If I haven't been in my sewing room for a couple of days, I peek in the door and just, make sure everything's still there. And it's funny, but inside me, there's that sort of calling to be creative, to make things, to be a maker. And it's a really, really different than going to a job every day. And there are people who are cut out for going to jobs every day, don't get me wrong. And for many years I was, but I'm not now. And I'm okay with the lifestyle that I have because of that choice. I think that's, that's the important part, is that I don't need a lot of stuff. I don't need a lot of vacations. I don't need a lot of anything to be happy, to feel content, because I know what contentment is ultimately. And that is what the loving presence is, that's looking out on the world.
Yeah.
If that
And
makes sense.
I like the way, I think it makes a lot of sense. And, it almost provides a roadmap, because I remember when, when I was really upset about, having to go to work and having to go to school, university, and so on, hearing these cliches where it's like, well, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's just so far removed from your personal experience that you're just like, you kind of scoff at it. But this and what you're talking about really is a roadmap to doing that. I think most people would like to have more autonomy, and most people would like to be more creative more often. Um, And really, it's kind of a twofold serving of our, our what true basic need of just love and connection. And the best way, when we can create with that love and connection, if you make a garment from scratch for somebody who wants a beautiful sweater or dress or what have you, or a dress for prom or a wedding or whatever, you know, putting your creative talents and your love into that is really a way to contribute to other people's happiness, and it's really what most people want to do. Most people I get asked about what they want to do, that horrible question when adults ask kids, what do you want to do? Most people want to contribute and make other people happy, because it's almost a selfish act. When you make somebody else happy, you can't help but feel good. And it's a real reliable way. And the best way to feel love is by being loving. It's one of my favorite expressions, because it keeps us out of self-pity and keeps us out of lack. If I want to feel something, all I have to do is be it and be around other people, and it reflects back to me, and I inspire them to act that way towards me. If you want to raise your spirits, make somebody laugh. Start joking with somebody, start riffing with them about humor and so on, and you'll have a better time. It's amazing how it really hits me how much of gods that we are, how much control and how much influence we have over our, number one, 100% of our experience of the world, but number two, like our small circle that we're in that present moment. We can set the tone for it, just by deciding. And if you want to feel something, just be it, and it's amazing how quickly it starts to reflect back to you.
Yeah, it really does. And I think it might be more difficult when you go to a job every day than for someone like me who deals directly with the people I'm serving, as opposed to going to a job and not really dealing directly with the people that you're ultimately serving. You get that sort of feedback right away. So it probably is more difficult when you're going to a job, but the thing is, you can create that in different ways. Like you said, you can have, conversations with people, or, just spread happiness in the environment that you are working in, because there's a lot of unhappy people. I mean, go into the grocery store at any point in time and just notice how many people are, have a frown on their face, or are scowling, and probably don't even realize that they're doing it. It's funny. Last night, I drove all the way to Don Mills, the shops at Don Mills, which took me 2.5 hours to sing with my choir, because they needed extra people, because it was kind of an out of the way thing, but it was a gig there. And so I went to sing, and the choir master said, okay, so we've learned from all the videos that we've taken of choir, when we've been singing, how often we are scowling and looking like we're doing the worst thing in the world when we're singing, because I think because we get so engrossed and concentrating so hard on getting it right, that we're, sort of like trying really hard. So she sort of had to remind us to put a smile on your face. Like, you're having fun, aren't you? So why not express that, so people, because it is infectious. And I think that is a common thing in life, is that people walk around with scowls, and they have no idea just how they are coming across to other people. And I go to the grocery store, and they play really good music in the grocery store. I'm sorry. I'm singing. I'm sometimes dancing. Like, as I push my cart, I'm dancing. And people always smile at me, because I think it makes them realize that, that it kind of makes them happy to see that, that I'm able to do that. And I even had someone, and I think I've probably told this story before, but I even had someone come up to me in the grocery store and say, oh, my dear, I just wanted to tell you, I think it's lovely that you are enjoying life the way you are, singing and dancing in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I thought, you see that? People do notice, people are affected by it. And I think that we can do that so easily by smiling at someone, or, just enjoying life and reminding them that there are things in life to enjoy. So,
Yeah.
and singing's the way
Yeah.
I do it.
We lose perspective so easily. And I think, keeping a good perspective is one of the keys to feeling content and upbeat the majority of your life. Because, we have so many opportunities for joy. And we just get caught up in our own stories. We get caught up in our own struggles, in a drama that's going on, or something that we wish was different, and we lose sight of all the amazing things that there are. I talk about, enjoying the benefits of society. I mean, we've come a long way. We've got a long way to go. We're still in our infancy. We've got a lot of things messed up, but you know, we have a ton of things to enjoy in this life, including just another person. Um, we have so much technology. We have so much. We have the greatest library uh, the world has ever known 15 years ago, just in our phone. Going on Wikipedia or Google or something, we can learn anything. We can make progress in life. Nothing is locked to us. We have access to everything. Um, and it's a shame if we lose sight of that. It's a shame if we go grocery shopping after work, and half of the time we're thinking about some drama that's going on in our lives. Our kid isn't doing something, our partner isn't acting the way we want them to. I'm worried about this occurring in the future. We get stuck on these things, and we lose the perspective that you're in a grocery store. I mean, I can only imagine what somebody, you know, who lived 80 years ago just reanimates and is in the middle of a super grocery store with 15,000 products in one spot to eat, to have cleaning supplies, to having fresh produce from all over the world 30 meters away. And it's all relatively reasonably priced. Um, it's absolutely phenomenal. And in that situation, think about how lucky we are compared to somebody who lived 80 years ago and or back further, 80 years starting and everybody previous. And in that situation, we're sitting there cursing some potential future scenario that we don't want to have happen. And it really is within our control to not think about those things and often alter the course of our lives so that we don't have those things happen. It's just a complete loss of perspective. And it's choosing. Well, I've been listening to Russell Brand this week because he's got a new book out, and he says whether it's conscious or it's unconscious, where we are being our behavior is as a result of patterns, whether and programs, and either they're conscious programs or they're unconscious programs. And when we follow these unconscious programs, oftentimes, almost all the time, it's led by the ego, which is going to tell you there's problems, and we choose whether it's conscious or unconscious. We choose to feel horrible.
Yep. Yep. And, I think we have more than we've ever had before, and we're unhappier than we've ever been before.
Yeah.
And there's got to be some way to simplify that and to get back to what is true happiness. And I don't know the answer to that. I know what the answer is for me. And that is to stop thinking I need every new thing that comes out or everything that I see other people have. And and you go on social media and this person's gone. There was one week where everybody I knew was in Italy, for goodness sakes, and I was like, oh, I want to go to Italy. And then I went,
Yeah.
but why? What would be different in Italy than here at home? It's not like I can't make that food.
Right.
It's just another distraction from what you don't like about your life right now. And
Yes.
I'm not saying it's bad to travel. I'm saying the motivations for the things we want and the things we do is the problem. The motivation, not the things we want, not the things we do, but the motivation and what we think it's going to give us. And it never gives us what we think it's going to give us. So skip the middleman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just go
At
to
the, at
that.
the, yeah, just go to the source. It's available to you in every single moment. Yeah. At best, it's a temporary palliative, and oftentimes they are really expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm. Well, it's 3:35, and before the show, Bettina is doing all of her Christmas baking, and she has things in the oven that need to come out at 3:40. So I think
That's right.
this week that we'll bypass the meditation, and we'll bring one to you next time. And if you want more meditations, you can buy Bettina's CD.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and they're
There's
on
12
sale.
guys.
So,
12, right? There
yeah,
it is, right? The soulconnection.ca, right?
correct.
And
Just go to products
so
and I've put,
this almost
I'm,
feels like a purposeful plug. We
yeah,
withhold it and then say, well, you can have it if you want to buy it.
yeah.
But it's a beautiful CD. I have one, and I
Such
think
good
it's
marketing.
12. Yeah,
10,
12 guided meditations, and they all
10
have a
actually.
theme. 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I've marked the price down, so you're not going to get any cheaper, people.
That's terrific. Okay. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We'll get Bettina's bread out of the oven.
Okay. Have a great week, everyone.
Okay. Take care.